sorry now that I'm a little late. I apologize that you had to wait. It totally slipped my mind. I lost all my sense of time. So buy me that drink and just let me think, and I'll tell you the reasons why. My alibi.
Hello and welcome to Alibi the podcast, an initiative started by Gagasan Mahasiswa Undang-Undang Sabah, or GANS for short. I am your host for this session, Pauline Lee. On today's episode of Alibi the podcast, we will be discussing the technology developments in the legal field, specifically in AI. Today's episode takes on a slightly different format. We have conducted separate interviews with both a senior lawyer and a chambering student to talk about their perception and use of AI in the legal field. Their accounts will be presented consecutively to each other in this order. We invite you to join us in realizing the valuable similarities and differences in their experiences with AI that can help foster further understanding, cooperation, and constructive discourse. Before we start our session, let's get to know our first special guest on the podcast today. It is Datuk Roger Chin, a senior lawyer from Chin Lau Wong and Fu. Datuk Roger Chin completed his legal education in the University of Melbourne, and he is also currently a council member at Sabah's very own Borneo International Center for Arbitration and Mediation, also known as BICAM. Welcome to our podcast, Datuk Roger. We are very lucky to have your input on our podcast today. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself as well as Chin Lau Wong and Fu?
I've been practicing for more than 20 years now, and primarily in the fields of intellectual property, dispute resolution in all courts and tribunals, and do corporate and commercial work. And Chin Lau Wong and Fu is one of the oldest law firms in Sabah. We were established in 1976, an all services law firm. So we're a general law firm. Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking your time to join this podcast. Now that we've gotten to know our speaker a little bit better, let's get into today's topic. Before we get into the details, we'd like to invite you to tell us a little bit more about what you understand the term AI to be. The floor is yours, Dr. Roger.
Okay. I think AI, unfortunately, today is a term which is gone beyond what AI actually is. We should maybe differentiate between what AI is today versus what AI actually is going to be in the future. Those of us who have watched Terminator, that is AI, okay? Meaning an AI that thinks for itself, that does not need any form of programming. It is sentient, okay? That is what AI should be, all right? But at the moment, what you have is something which is obviously not that. It is not a sentient AI. It is still programming, telling you what to do and how to combine information, and how to present something. So let me give you an example. When we talk about ChatGPT, we talk about Gemini, or what all these sort of supposed AI. What they're really doing is this: they are collecting a whole lot of data, churning through the data, knowing what is inside the data. So when you ask a question, for example, how do I bake a cake? All it's doing is it's going back to its database, okay? And it's probably scoured through the whole internet and knows that there are 50 million recipes for baking a cake, for example, right? And it will combine the information and give you that information. Now, sentient AI to me means there is no information, okay? And this thing can think for itself and actually tell me how to bake a cake. So what we have at the moment is not sentient AI a la Terminator. What we have is what I call a content aggregator, and a content presenter. Okay, I think that is what AI at this stage is. Of course, whether or not it ever progresses to AI sentient stage, whether humankind will allow it to go to AI sentient stage, that is to be seen. But as is now, AI is not that. AI to me at the moment is more a content aggregator, content presenter.
Thank you, Dr. Roger, for the clear explanation. There has been research on numerous ways that AI offers to enhance various aspects in the legal field. Could you tell us more about any instances of AI that you have seen in the modern landscape?
I mean, AI is certainly extremely helpful in the way lawyers function. For example, you can just say to AI, I want to write a letter to the courts. Um, I want this letter is to be written to Juan so and so. And this letter is asking for to adjourn a particular hearing for the following reasons, right? It will just shoot it out. Versus a person who maybe is not so proficient in English, okay, or another language, trying to type out the letter, having to think about the content, having to come up with the proper spelling, having to come up with the proper grammar, structure, and all of these things, therefore taking time. I've seen these sort of letters taking half an hour to write because the person's not very good in English, for example, right? AI will get that letter out to you in a matter of seconds. Okay. Research-wise, last time, all these books at the back, those are law journals, and then we have is it here? No, Malal's Digest is no longer here. It used to be here. Malal's Digest used to be how you do research. You would have to go take out Malal's Digest, and then you would have to look at an index, try to find what areas of law that you're looking at, and then from there it will point you to one of these journals, and then you will go and look at it. Now, I don't even need to know anything. I'm just going to any of the journal, online journal, whether it's LexisNexis, MLJ, LexisNexis, CLJ, Thomson Reuters. I just need to type keywords. All of these has become superfluous and not required anymore, right? So that basically helps me do research very, very quickly. But what it doesn't do is at the moment, ChatGPT and all the other AIs out there are not probably able to help you do a submission. Not yet. Okay. But the things that are coming out, things like Harvey. I don't know whether any of you have heard about Harvey. Harvey is a dedicated legal AI. Okay, it's been in beta for a long time, but hopefully one day they'll release it. I've seen the sort of things that it can produce. It can write you an opinion. It can probably do pleadings for you. It can probably do submissions for you, but that one has not been released yet. It's still in testing. But when that comes out, that will be very interesting. So at the moment, AI as it stands would be able to help me facilitate my research, help me write simple letters, and maybe do simpler work. But it has not yet gone to the stage of being able, sorry, I should say the readily available AI. Okay, don't talk about the AIs that I've heard in Western countries that you pay a lot of money to, and you can get all of these pleadings and opinions and all of that. I haven't seen those. I've heard about them. But the readily available AI like ChatGPT is not able to take over the job of a young lawyer at the moment.
Thank you for the explanation. As you've explained earlier, virtual assistants are also an example of what AI can offer in the legal field. What is your take on this, Dr. Roger?
Well, it certainly helps a lot. So what it does is this. I think something that the young lawyers coming up will have to consider is this. What is your value to a law firm? Or assuming you're working for a law firm, if you're working on your own, then not an issue. But if you're working for a law firm, what is your value? Why? Why do I say this? Very simple. If I can get the AI to do a letter, if I can get the AI to help me do research on particular areas of law, the question would be, what is the function or what is the need for a young lawyer? Okay, it will certainly impact in that sense. So the young lawyer will now have to show his or her value in terms of being better than AI or being able to use AI to be able to assist a law firm because AI will to a large extent replace the function of, I would say, maybe a first year lawyer. Okay, it's probably not fair to say a second or third year lawyer because they would have learned a bit by then, but certainly a first year lawyer. Um, I'm thinking we could probably do away with first year lawyers. Okay, there's not much value in the first year lawyer in that sense because the AI could do the work.
Thank you for the explanation. There has also been discussion regarding whether robot judges should be allowed in the courtrooms in the future. May I please have your opinion on this?
Robot judges. Again, like I said, what is a robot judge? Are you talking about a Terminator sentient robot judge, or are you talking about a robot judge as of today? Okay. So if we're talking about a robot judge as of today, I will say that it would very much depend on what is in the algorithm of the robot judge. Okay. Because remember I said earlier on, at the moment, as is, even chat bots and all of that are being programmed to respond. If I say I'm happy, the options are A, B, C, D. Okay, so it's being told that if you're prompted like this, you will answer like this. Okay, but it's not. How did the robot this morning had a very nice can of oil to drink, and therefore walked out into the sunshine, felt the rays shining on its metallic skin and feeling very happy, and therefore it has emotions. Okay, at the moment there is no such thing as a sentient emotional robot. Okay, you only have a robot which is taught certain things and taught how to react to certain things. So if you're asking the question now, I will answer that it very much depends on what is in the algorithm. Okay, let me give you an example. The High Court in Sabah and Sarawak has already piloted that AI sentencing, which you can read up about. But what it is, it's primarily a content aggregator. So what it does is it goes through a whole stack of cases, whether it's 10,000 cases, 20,000, 30, whatever, right? It's picking up certain things. For example, a particular section of the Penal Code, okay? Um, and in that instance, the person who is say 20 years old, who is married, who has two children, okay, who is working or not working, um, was found guilty, pleaded guilty, or was found guilty and sentenced to 1 year and plus fine of 1,000, for example. Okay, so scour the whole database and then what you feed into it, and then you will then you'll come up to the conclusion. In all the cases that have been fed to me, in 30% of cases where the lady or the man, 20 years old with two kids, committing this crime, who is not working, 30% of the time, the person was fined 1,000 ringgit and not imprisoned, for example. So that is a data. Okay, it's just going through data and giving you statistics. So what will then happen is the judge will have that before the judge, which is okay. So theoretically speaking, if a person comes before me now and says that he or she is 20 years old, has two kids, and is not working, in 30% of the time, I should be fining this person 1,000 and not jailing that person. So what it does is it should theoretically mean that there is more consistent sentencing. Okay, because you would think that if you have like people in an area, sorry, not in an area, you like people who commit one crime and have got the same circumstances, they would receive similar punishment, right? So rather than you saying, oh, I'm gonna fine you 1 million ringgit, assuming you could fine the person 1 million ringgit, versus what is normal is 1,000 ringgit, it will bring the judge back, and the judge will probably find around the 1,000 ringgit mark. Okay, so that's consistency. Now, if you're saying that the robot judge is doing that, then that is all fine and no problems. Okay. However, what you need to ask yourself is when you are coming to that conclusion that 30% of people in given the same set of circumstances has been found punished with a fine of 1,000 ringgit. The question is, have you put in certain biases in the algorithm? For example, did you take into account that the person was a Chinese, for example, okay? Or this person was Christian, okay? Because you would have thought pretty irrelevant if I was found speeding, for example, okay? What would my race and what would my religion have to do with coming up with the punishment of, say, 1,000 ringgit, right? The answer is it shouldn't be. But however, if the algorithm put that in, you can see how it would skew the percentage of 30%, right? It could be a particular in the cases that were being fed into it, they happen to be all Chinese people for whatever reason. Okay. And then you will find that in those circumstances, because it said that you have to take into account what the race is. It will say that if you're Chinese, you are 20 years old, you are not married, and you have two children, sorry, not working, and you have two children, 60% of the time you should be fined 5,000 ringgit versus the rest, say, 1,000 ringgit. So it has skewed it, it has biased it, and then it would mean that if I am a Chinese, I appear before the court, I'm Chinese Christian, and I am 20 years old, I am not working, and I have two children, it will say fine him 5,000 ringgit, because more than 50% of the time, that's what the general thing is, right? So that is what I'm saying about robot judges. So you have to, if the robot judges is that sort of robot judge, which is you're feeding it information, then the question is, what algorithm are you putting in that robot judge? Because a robot judge is not sentient, cannot feel. You have to be very careful whether or not you really do want a robot judge.
Thank you, Dr. Roger. Earlier, you were talking about sentient AI versus content aggregation, which our current model AI being the later. Do you think your opinion on the use of AI in the legal field would be any different if the AI we were dealing with was to be sentient AI?
Of course. Why? Let me give you an example of back to criminal cases, why a robot judge may not be the best thing. Because a robot judge, as of today, is, like I said, unemotional, okay? Unemotional, and it does not look into gray areas. Okay. So when you are presenting before a judge, say it says, okay, 20 years old, not working, two kids, 1,000 ringgit. Now, what happens if there is a good reason? Okay. We always use this classic example of the mother went to stole something. Why? Because she had no money and she was stealing milk powder for the babies, right? That's emotion. All right. Should that be taken into account by a robot judge, right? Perhaps it should, and I would say it certainly should, because this is how the justice shows mercy. Okay. This is a saying that all of you would have learned in court, that justice should show mercy, right? So in that case, if 30% of the time I'm meant to fine 1,000 ringgit, fine. I start up with a 1,000 ringgit, and then I realize that it's been presented to me that this person stole because she was stealing for a very hungry baby who was without food for weeks already. Cannot be weeks, I say a few days, right? And that was the reason why she stole. I may reduce that fine from 1,000 ringgit to 600 ringgit, 500 ringgit, for example, right? So it would certainly, if there was a sentient AI there, and this person can feel, or this thing can feel, it certainly would be a lot more useful But then I would say we're verging on other ethical dilemmas on whether or not an AI should be allowed to think, right? Like a normal human being, because all the Terminator doomsday scenarios and all of those things would start coming in. All right. But if you could have a thinking, feeling robot AI judge, that would be ideal. And this would apply across the board to whether it's an a thinking, feeling AI lawyer. It would apply across the board.
Thank you, Dr. Roger. That is much appreciated. Referring to our conversation on the development of AI in the legal field above, how do you think this will affect employers' prospect when considering candidates for employment?
I certainly would want to find out, for example, when I'm hiring a lawyer, whether or not this lawyer is able to utilize the available AI products out there. But at the same time, I'd also be a little bit careful. Why? If this lawyer is relying on AI, then I'd be a little bit worried. Okay. Why? Because that means that this lawyer may not be able to think for themselves. The problem with what is available out there, ChatGPT and whatever, is it dumbs us down. Okay. The classical story of Chinese people who now just type using pinyin, right? And not able to write that character when they need to write the character happens when you use AI. Okay. When I'm constantly typing a letter, I'm thinking about how to type the letter, things are flowing in my brain. But when I get ChatGPT to write me that letter in 1 second, and I'm cutting and pasting that letter into whatever I'm sending out, it means that I have exerted no brain power. Okay. So I'd be very scared if I was hiring a lawyer who had no brain power, who was only relying on ChatGPT, because what happens if all of a sudden the whole of KK had a blackout, no internet, no no internet, okay, and no computers for that matter, okay. Then I just give the person a piece of paper and ask the person write whatever.
Mm.
Is the person able to do that, right? So you see how you have to be very careful on being overly reliant on AI, because you still have to show that I'm brilliant without the AI, but I am also more brilliant with the AI. Okay. So I would think that if I was a young lawyer coming up today, that's how I would portray myself to a potential employer. I'm very good, but with AI, I'm also even better. I can utilize AI to make myself better, but I don't need it. Okay. I think that's what most employers will be thinking. They will be thinking to themselves, are you cheating? Are you using AI? So if I take AI away from you, are you able to do anything? That will be always constantly what an employer now would be thinking.
So, in light of these revelations, can you give some advice to new lawyers coming into the legal landscape?
I would say be good at what you do on your own without overly relying on AI. I think AI is here to stay. It's not going to go away, but treat it as an assistant, okay? Not as your primary tool of coming up with work, okay? Because exactly what I pointed out just now, if you do that, when that is taken away from you, you're not able to think. And many a times when you're in a meeting, when you are talking to someone, you cannot say, hey, hold on, let me ask ChatGPT first before I give you an answer. You can't. You have to be able to sit there and talk to the person and be able to tell them the law, the whatever. Okay. It's easy to type for negligence. What are the elements of negligence? Do ChatGPT will give it all to you, right? But again, like I said, when you're in a meeting, when you're talking to people, when your client is before you, you do not have the luxury of that. And let me tell you, if you actually said to your client, wait, hold on, let me find out for you, okay, the client will not have any faith in you. Okay, so you have to be very careful, be good at what you do. You can rely on ChatGPT and all the AIs there, but treat it as assisting you only and not be your primary tool of presenting work.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Again, special thanks to Datuk Roger for joining us on our podcast today. It has truly been an enriching and fruitful discussion that I believe we can all take something away from. Do make sure to check out their social media platforms and web pages, which will be linked in the description. Next up, we will be hearing from Constance and Caroline.
Welcome to the podcast, Caroline. We are looking forward to hearing your input today. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself as well as Ronnie Chum & Co?
Thank you for the short introduction, Constance. Hello, everyone. I'm Caroline Lee, and I am very excited to join you all today on this podcast. As introduced earlier by Constance, I have just completed my PPH and I'm getting close to the bar soon. And I did both of my LLB and bar training course at Cardiff University. And I also did a master's at Cardiff University as well. My master's is on a relatively niche area of employment law, specifically in workplace sexual harassment induced stress. Although I did not specialize in AI, mainly because my bar school, they do not offer such a course, but I do keep myself updated with all the developments in the AI industry, especially in the legal field. So about Mrs. Ronnie Chum & Co. So it's a firm that do a lot of litigation work, and we also do conveyancing work. In terms of litigation, we do both criminal and civil cases, like for criminal cases like murder cases, sexual offences cases. Both like for civil cases would be company law, contract law, tort, negligence, everything. We do everything. Like at least one have to know everything, right? So we do everything. So if you have any problem, just find us. We can help you to sort out every problem. And again, it's truly an honor to be invited to share my thoughts and experiences with your audience. And hopefully our discussion today can inspire and also inform your listeners.
Again, Caroline, thank you so much for taking your time to join this podcast. Now that we've gotten to know our speaker a little bit better, let's get into today's topic. Before we get into the details, we'd like to invite you to tell us a little bit more about what you understand the term AI to be. The floor is yours, Caroline.
So I believe that everyone know what is AI. So it's basically, to me, it's a machine ability to perform tasks commonly associated with human cognitive functions, such as perceiving, reasoning, learning, interacting with an environment, and also problem solving. And it is a machine that is trained with data based on algorithms. So these algorithms will then detect patterns and learn how to make predictions and recommendations by processing data and experiences. Well, in fact, we interact with AI almost every single day. So like voice assistants like Siri, Alexa, the Chinese version called, I think it's called Tian Mao Jingling. And even the voice assistants in cars, such as Proton. If you're driving a Proton, they have a voice assistant called Hey Proton. All of these voice assistants, they're all founded on AI technology. And the same goes to some of the customer service chatbots. Very commonly, I think everyone know when you're browsing AirAsia websites, there will be at the very right corner bottom of your website, you will see there's a customer service chatbots, and it is all AI generated. So you can just pop in your inquiries in there, and then the AI assistant will assist with your inquiries. So at the end of the inquiries, if you ask you if you are satisfied with the AI answer that was given to you. So if you're not satisfied, it will then refer to you to a living human assistant eventually. So another very, very famous AI tool would be ChatGPT, and I know everyone know what is ChatGPT. Although there is still a lot of other AI tools such as the Gen AI, Dev GPT, ClickUp, Ripe, Sonic, Jasper Chat, everything you name it. As long as you go on to Google and then you type ChatGPT equivalent, it will come out with a lot of AI tools. So it's very, very convenient now. You can just use AI everywhere, whenever you want, and however you want.
Thank you, Caroline, for the clear explanation. There has been research on the numerous ways that AI offers to enhance various aspects in the legal field. Could you tell us more about any instances of applications of AI, such as ChatGPT, as you've just mentioned, that you have seen in the modern legal landscape?
Okay, AI eventually will become an indispensable productivity tool across the legal profession. For ChatGPT aside, in fact, AI had already come into play much earlier before the pandemic. If we're as far as Sabah and Sarawak the Sabah and Sarawak courts are concerned, and back in February 2020, especially the criminal courts. For instance, the magistrates court, they uses a pilot AI tool as a guide to judges with the sentencing decisions, mostly in cases involving possession of drugs and sexual offenses, because based on the data, these cases, they have the richest data set for AI to operate. So if you have been to the magistrates court in KK or any magistrate courts that have AI, you would have seen when the judges are, reading out the sentence to the defendant, they will say something along the line where about you are being charged under XXX section for XXX crime, and then the court will use AI to decide your sentence. However, the court is not bound by the sentence given by the AI, as they are just, guidelines or recommendations to which ultimately the court or the judge will still have the ultimate discretion to decide if they want to follow the sentence given by the AI. So the use of the AI in criminal justice system, especially in the sentencing area, is still very much a gray area, also subject to debate. Yet, as far as sentencing is concerned, AI has helped the court save a lot of time, produce consistent sentences, or perhaps fairer sentences in a way that it minimizes the prejudice that might be caused to the potential accused or defendant. So it's very, very good to see that the legal system has started to use AI in the criminal justice system, because it looks very advanced, for in KK like that. And another ChatGPT equivalent that I've seen would be the AI legal assistant by LexisNexis. It's called Lexis Analytics. Okay, I swear I'm not doing marketing here, but it's gonna sound like I'm promoting Lexis Analytics. So Lexis Analytics Malaysia is set to be the first of its kind analytics tool designed to revolutionize the practice of litigation with advanced knowledge extraction capabilities, to which it also said that it will promise you to give you unsurpassable data-driven insights. Wow, it sounds very impressive, right? So it also said that the LexisNexis Analytics actually deploy AI across 1,000 or even 10,000 of cases reports to pinpoint related and relevant legal issues, and also to analyze your case outcome in easily intelligible visuals. So it will help you to spot your winning strategy in a glance, and also plan informed tactical moves in your legal battle. Wow, this sounds even more impressive. So imagine how much time you could have saved when you're using Lexis Analytics, especially when you're dealing with a complex matter that requires extensive research. Just pop in your case facts or the potential area that you're looking for into the search tablet there, and then it will come up with a lot of cases, and also if you what are the potential legal issues that is arising from the case fact that you have put in. So I actually discovered this LexisNexis Analytics from my friend very recently, because when they promote this analytics, they promote it very, very good, because marketing, right? And then you don't know if it's going to work well, or it is just mere path, or just marketing skills, tactic, or something like that. So, but then my friend, he told me that he had the chance to use this analytics, and then he said it's very, very advanced. It's like the legal field ChatGPT. It's so advanced because he has a very complex case and then he has a problem in like finding out the legal issues because his boss want him to figure it out on his own. So he put his case back into the search tablet, and then eventually the analytics helped him to find good cases for argument, and also it pinpoints him to the related legal issues. And then he was so impressed, and then he was so excited to introduce the LexisNexis analytics to all of us. And then he even persuade us, okay, you have to like persuade your boss to subscribe to this AI because it's so advanced and so convenient. Okay, it could have saved you so much time for your legal research. To me, that is very impressive because if you want me to be brutally honest, I feel like my legal research training back in bar school is like, if you're talking in nowadays, I feel like it's very irrelevant now in a way because the legal research training back in bar school is quite brutal actually. And then so I don't know, I found it very funny because the thing is they taught us about legal research training is that they will teach you how to use LexisNexis, and then they will teach you to start from which statute, and then either for negligence, and there's different type of statutes for different claims for personal injury or trespass and so on and so forth. And then you have to write down your legal research track, and then like from where you started the legal research, and then you have to write down which statute you start with, and then you have to write down which section you start with, and then you have to write down what cases that you have referred to. And then it's very time consuming, and I felt it's very unnecessary to go through that, because if you're talking about AI research nowadays, because you can just type in your question into the tablet, and then we come up with a lot of cases for you, and you don't have to click on this statute and then click on that section, and then you have to like go through 1,000 of cases to find the case that you want by yourself. I'm very glad that there's something like an legal research AI for young lawyers nowadays. I mean, even for senior lawyers also.
Yeah, it sounds like LexisNexis should be paying you guys commission for the unintentional promo.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive actually. So I hope, I mean, in a way, if my boss in the future, if he really subscribed to this, I will be very, very grateful for that.
Yep, definitely point taken. But on the
Yeah.
topic of virtual assistants, we've also seen how virtual assistants in the legal field can go terribly wrong. I believe there was a case in America where a lawyer had used ChatGPT to generate his argument for one of the cases that he had, and ChatGPT had provided him with fake cases that did not exist. So what is your take on this, Caroline?
Well, my point of view on this instance is that I think the problem is the lawyers. The lawyers are at fault and not the AI tool. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, it's the lawyers who failed to check the content that was generated by the AI. Because the thing is, with ChatGPT, we don't know where they got the data from, and then they are not transparent with their origin of data. The thing is, we never have like a very legitimate database to say that, oh, now ChatGPT has the complete data for all the laws and all. Because the thing is, they can put a lot of data in, like even like non-factual data. And about ChatGPT, it's a machine that is based on algorithm, right? And then it has its own human cognitive functions. So it's basically, it can generate its own version of content for you. So at the end of the day, I think lawyers, they should always and also must exercise judgment, and also to validate the content, the date, the source of data of the AI generated outputs, so that they can ensure accuracy, appropriateness, and also the reliability for the legal context. Other than the unreliability of AI generated content, it is just one of the risks. There are more risks actually. So, and there can be, amplification of bias. So if the training data has gone into model reflects historical biases, or even cyber security risks, as with any network computer system, these are all the risks that you have to consider and also be aware of when you're using ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. Thank you for the explanation. So we were speaking earlier about robot judges, about the topic of robot judges and their use in the modern courtroom. There has been much discussion about whether robot judges should be allowed in courtrooms in the future. May I please have your opinion on this?
Okay, robot judges in courtrooms in the future. Well, okay, I'm a bit biased because I really enjoy going to court physically, but with that aside, in my opinion, I do not agree that robot judges should be allowed in courtrooms, even in the future or now. Because the thing is, just as I have mentioned earlier, that some the criminal courts, they're using AI in criminal justice system, and it's good that they have this AI to help them to do the sentencing in a way that it can reduce the judge's workload and then create more efficient management on the cases, and also it will produce more consistent sentencing. But the thing is, we at the end of the day, we still don't know where they got the data from, and then we also don't know how will the AI itself will generate the the sentences or the data. Like for one instance, I remember, I think it was a few months ago. So there was this guy. He was caught for stealing a carton of eggs. For that crime, I think he got sentenced for, I think, around 9 or 10 months of imprisonment. So I find it quite unfair, because one carton of eggs and then 9 and 10 months in a jail spent. So I mean, to me, I find it quite unfair. So at the end of the day, I'm still not very persuaded that AI at the end of the day it will give you a more fairer sentence. And also with the judges in the courtroom, since back in the days, or I mean historically, judges in the courtroom, they are a symbolism of, like, they are dignified, they have the symbol there, so everyone go in the courtroom, they would be, they are all well behaved. So imagining yourself, you're attending to a courtroom and then the judges is a robot, compared to when you enter a courtroom and then you saw the judge is a real human. So which one would you feel like you will behave yourself more, and then you would contain yourself more? I think with the robot judge, I would like talk with other people, or like take my phone out and then do my own stuff, and then it's like I can't take everything seriously. But if the judge is a real human, and you will feel like, because like the judge can actually foresee the court. He can, I mean, he or she can foresee everyone. I mean, and then he or she has control of the whole of the courtroom. So they have many other roles in the legal system as well. So, like I said, managing a courtroom, and then the case law, and then the team of staff. Those would be even more difficult to replace with software programs. So I believe there will be a lot more noises in the future if they were to introduce robot judges in courtrooms rather than a human judges in a courtroom.
Mm-hmm. I think that really ties into what Datuk Roger was talking about previously, as in justice is mercy. And I think your first point was that robot judges don't have that space for empathy. So they're not able to make decisions based on, what the circumstances might be for some people. And if I think that's a very valid point, thank you very much for that. That's so appreciated. So referring to our conversation on the development of AI in the legal field above, how do you think this will affect employers' prospects when considering candidates for employment?
How would AI affect the employer's prospects? So I have yet to be an employer, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, it all boils down to what the employers want. They they want someone that's tech savvy, or maybe the employers, they want a person that brings value to the firm, and the resources, the benefits that you can provide to the firm as well, which the firm can benefit as well. Because yeah, true, AI is it's very capable now. They can do a lot of stuff. They can even replace your intern, your first year graduate. But the thing is, like can your AI go out and then find a client, or can your AI go out and interact with your with potential client, and then eventually build a bond with them, and then they eventually became your client? They or even will your AI go out and then make other person to have trust in you? Because I think these are the stuff that AI cannot do, but a living human person can do, because these are all. I don't think computer software program can do justice to all of this, because and at the end of the day, it just depends what the employers want. So if the employees are looking for more resources, more benefits, or more clients, I think it would be better. Eventually, they won't. I mean, if the future employee, they won't be replaced by AI.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, as an emerging legal professional, do you ever worry that AI will affect your employability in the future?
Yeah, I do. I do. I do worry about AI will affect my employability in the future, or even everyone's employability in the future, because AI is the thing now. It's like the talk of the town, because it's so capable. It can do everything. It can like design logo, it design pictures, draft letters, or write your submissions. It can do everything. But the thing is, there are still many skills and tasks that generative AI cannot do, but only living human, or for us the lawyers can. Because while AI will automate routine tasks and assist research, analysis, drafting, and some similar work, but the thing is, they cannot deal with client interaction, or even relationship building, negotiation with human, and also strategy development, and also courtroom advocacy. Because like just you have mentioned before, advocacy is also a very big part of the element in the legal system, because you have to persuade the judge. You have to, for some cases, you have to use your empathy. You have to get them feel your client, feel the case, feel how if the judges make the wrong decision, how it will affect your client in what way. And then you have to get, I mean, these are all the emotions that robots or even AI cannot do. So this is called, I think it's the art of persuasion. Yeah, the art of persuasion is one thing that I reckon that AI will never ever be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you so much for your answer, Caroline. Before we leave, are there any pieces of advice that you'd like to leave with, any new graduates or new legal professionals coming into the field?
As I have also just starting out, but the thing is, I know that there's a lot of undergrad students who find it very hard, or even struggling to go through their degree years. But trust me, you have to enjoy those days, because during your degree years, the only stress that you have is just, I have to get good grades, I have to pass my modules, I have to get your only stress is just academically. I mean, you still can get to enjoy life, but once you're like in the real proper adult world, things are getting more serious. Real life matters, and then a lot of crisis, and then you have to deal with a lot of stuff. So don't be stressed, just enjoy your studies, and then yeah.
Yep,
And
that's
then
all great.
yeah.
Mhm. Again, special thanks to Miss Caroline Lee for joining us on our podcast today. Miss Caroline will be finishing her pupillage very soon, so we'd like to extend our warm congratulations to her. It has truly been an enriching and fruitful discussion that I believe we can all take something away from. Do make sure to check out their social media platforms and web pages, which will be linked in the description. With that, we've reached the end of our podcast episode today. Thank you for listening to Alibi the podcast. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you want to find more podcasts like these, subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor to stay updated on all our latest releases. We hope you can join us for our next episode as well. Thanks again and take care.
Sorry now that I'm a little late. I apologize that you had to wait. It totally slipped my mind. I lost all my sense of time. So buy me that drink and just let me think, and I'll tell you the reasons why.